All righty.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem at all. All right, calling the meeting to order, 2:04. Jumping into roll call. Chris Bovee is here. I'm here. Matt Stevens. Lynn is here. Tina is here. Cosette is not yet. Have we gotten any emails? I thought I heard somebody mention maybe one come in, but I may have misheard.
No.
Okay. Lisa is not here yet, and Michaela.
Sure.
Perfect. All right. And the Pledge of Allegiance next.
Just a moment, Zach will pull up a flag.
Yep.
Not airlines. Tells you where we're at. All right. How about that one? There you go. On Walmart.
All right. Let's see here. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America and to the republic
Which
for
is
for
which
which
it stands,
stands one nation under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
and justice for all. Okay, and moving on to approval of the agenda. Looks like we've got workshop items, the downtown revitalization funds, that discussion to continue, and some talk about rotational art opportunities on city property. We have a motion to approve that.
I motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Chris. Thank you. All in favor of approving the agenda items with the downtown revitalization funds and rotational art opportunities workshops?
Aye.
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 And it looks like Lisa and
That's just Lisa.
has
That's
just
like
joined us also at 2:06.
That's Michaela's.
Perfect. Okay. Lisa, I don't know if you can hear us. Were you here for the approval of the agenda there a second ago? Not hearing anything. I don't know if you can hear us or not.
Lisa, we don't have the video or audio. If you're having difficulty, you can put a comment in the chat.
I'll type something in real quick. I'll see if she can see that. So. Where'd it go? I'm not getting an answer yet so far on that. She might be having connectivity issues.
Well, if she can hear us, she might want to try re-logging back in or using the phone option.
Yeah,
the link that was emailed out. She can join us via her telephone.
yep. All right, and while we're trying to get that squared away, approval of minutes, which the last meeting was canceled as far as I understand. So would it be minutes for the meeting prior to that? Or
Those minutes were approved. From the
that's what I
previous-
thought.
Yeah, so there's no minutes to approve today.
Well, we need
Okay.
to approve the March 13th minutes because they weren't approved last month.
Oh, that's right. These would be the March meeting minutes because we couldn't approve them. Zach's correct.
Yep. Yep. All right. And let's see, I still don't see there Lisa's iPad. She's connecting now, it looks like. So we'll give her just another minute before we jump into that. There she is.
Hold on. Let me get out of this one. It's because I'm-
Double audio.
There we go. It's because I was already online with another computer. Okay,
All right. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
good. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you as well. And we had just got through approving the agenda for this meeting, and we're on to approving the minutes for the March 13th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes from March 13th?
Yes. I motion.
All right, motion by Tina. Do I hear a second for approval?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you so much. And all in favor of approving the March 13th or March 13th minutes from the last meeting?
Aye. Yay.
All right, looks unanimous. Public comments. Did we have anything come through, or do we have anybody interested in public comments?
We have
Zach?
not received any public comments, and we do not have any members of the public present at this time.
All right, perfect. No presentations, public hearings, or action items. So down to number 11, workshops. The downtown revitalization funds discussion continued. This.
So Zach's put up on the screen the summary of the call for projects as amended by the Arts Commission at this point. So this is still a point of discussion for the commission. The last conversation included the number of designs per artist, as well as how to define the area from which artists could be considered for this. And so with that, we'll turn this over to Zach. Zach created a map to help identify the area of which artists could be drawn from. So let's turn this over to Zach.
Yeah, so I mean, really quickly, what we did was we looked at block groups, census block groups. So in general, I was having trouble kind of defining the West Plains in terms of like just subjectively saying west of this, east of that. So we went to a predefined geography, which in this case is block groups. This is a selection of block groups that were used previously to define the West Plains, but I expanded it a little bit to use some natural geographic boundaries as well. So most of this area, so you got Cheney here, the problematic piece, again, you can kind of see Cheney gets cut off just to the north of Turnbull. So kind of if you're in Turnbull, you're out. So we can include this block group, but as you can see, not a lot of people here, so it really wouldn't be that big a deal, but it is a really big block group. Same story with this block right here. The reason being is the southern border of this block group is Dino Road. So if we didn't include this block, and if you live north of Dino, you wouldn't be in the West Plains, which didn't seem right. But using this geography, if you live in 9 Mile Falls, you also kind of are lumped in to the West Plains. But again, there aren't a ton of people here. We really wanted to make sure we got Medical Lake. We got the city of Airway Heights. We had the most of the municipal boundaries of Cheney. And also we're including areas of West Spokane here, but areas in West Spokane that make sense. The eastern boundary here is the Spokane River. So that gives you a good kind of geographic sense of where the West Plains begins, basically if you're on this side of the river. But it also happens to be the block group boundary as well. So this is just something to work on. I included the other block group boundaries here in green, just to give you guys an idea. It's something we can snag any of these block groups and add to this, or if you're like, that's a little bit much, we can take them away. But the idea of the map was to give everybody a place to start to kind of conceptualize the West Plains. But again, this over here is also the boundary for Spokane County. So it's another geographic boundary there, but it also happens to be the boundary of the block group. So yeah, it's just somewhere to get everybody an idea of where to start and yeah, hopefully have a conversation. And if you like it, great. If not, we can definitely make changes.
All right, thank you so much. That I like having the geographic boundaries as well, because that gives a good, nice hard edge for the boundaries. But that's a good chunk right there. It is, I understand, yeah, like with Cheney, I know how that just kind of cuts off at the bottom. I don't know how high the population is out there. I know it's probably not much like you were saying, but I don't know what does everybody else think looking at this?
I like it. I think, it covers an area that could be, justified for this project. I believe that there's a wide span of area here, and they all, to me, looking at the map, the areas make sense
Yeah, I agree.
for this project.
Any other discussion or anything on this, or?
I'm
great.
not oh, go ahead.
Would you like me to include this block group as well down here? You can kind of see the boundary here. Can you see my mouse? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, good. So I did the screen sharing. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So this would include this chunk all the way down here. So it'd be a big chunk, but really you're not capturing a lot of population there.
Right.
And my thought is I would much rather have a few extra people who don't consider themselves being in the West Plains than having people that think they're in the West Plains but aren't included, I guess. So.
Yeah,
Zach, is that Spokane County?
Yes, these are census block groups, but you can kind of see how they're exactly the same as Spokane County here.
Okay, so that would be Spokane County if we went south of Cheney.
Yeah, so this is the Spokane County border here, and then that's the border there. So it would essentially expand the area to the southwest corner of Spokane County.
Yeah, well, then I say we should include it if it's still part of the county.
Okay.
I can't read the city name at the top of the map at the very north on the river. Is that Tum Tum or?
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, the most problematic block group here is probably this one. But if we don't include it, then we're kicking out everybody just to the north of Dino Road of Airway Heights. And I think I would rather have them in the West Plains and have, our folks who live up on Long Lake as well, because I don't think they're going to be super interested in applying for this. But like I said, I'd rather have more than less. Make sure we get everybody we can.
right. Yeah, I definitely think that one should definitely be included because it's right there in Airway and stuff. So definitely relevant.
It also drops down along Highway 2 there. So you can kind of see
Yep.
we would be kicking out essentially the Spokane Tribal Casino is located right here and oh, I'm sorry, that's actually in this block group here. But yeah, there are some businesses and homes along Highway 2 here that would not be included if we didn't have that block group. So
And Reardon is just out beyond it.
yeah,
right?
so Reardon, since it's outside of Spokane County, it sits right outside of the geographic area. We could include that block group if you want, but it's a pretty big one as well. You can kind of see where the boundaries start here, and it kind of goes off the map.
Yeah, it probably stretches clear out to Davenport and such too, correct? Or
It's pretty big. I don't remember exactly how big it is. I'd have to pull the map up, but it's pretty big.
okay.
I think we have to ask ourselves how much these communities and these outlying areas are going to be invested in revitalizing Airway Heights and what that looks like. I feel like we still haven't gotten to the point where we have some kind of a vision and mission about what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to help.
For the downtown area,
Well, we're not just talking about the downtown area, we're talking about incorporating the outlying areas as well and getting people involved in the process of developing the community. And I feel like we still, as a arts council, have not figured out what we're supposed to do to facilitate that. It seems a little fractured at this point, as far as what that looks like. I mean, you can draw in people and ask them for ideas for a wrap, for a utility box, but this is a very small start to a very big concept. One of the things that I really appreciated about going to, and thank you, Tina, what a wonderful tour that is. I don't know if anybody said that to this point, but I want to commend you for what wonderful tour and insight that was into the tribal communities and what your vision is and mission is on your own part, how you incorporate not only the history of the area, but also give great sensitivity to the environmental side, the landscape side, how you fit into the overall picture of developing the West Plains and how integral the tribes are into that and how important it is to have the tribes to preserve a lot of the green spaces, a lot of the natural parts. I was just thinking about today that I've lived out here in Airway Heights for 4 years. And when I first moved here, we had coveys of quail, little baby quail, that came out here all the time. And now all the areas are getting developed and we don't see those anymore. So I think it's really important as we do this, as we go forward, and as we talk about these larger areas to try to get them involved in this, that they're invested in what that looks like and that we invest together in what that looks like. And I think the tribes have a great start on that and how we can collaborate together into making that a bigger vision makes me want to be more of a part of this. At this point, as we're talking about just incorporating people into some project to wrap a utility box, I feel like we're kind of, what would I say? I know we're trying to do all the right things, but I feel like there's a disconnect there. We don't really know what we're here for. And so that's kind of where I'm at, is what are we here for? Why are we here? Because if we're going to improve Airway Heights, it's not just going to be bringing people in to come up with ideas for a wrap. It's going to be bringing people in with ideas for how we can be part of the community in the long term. I really appreciated the Kalispel tribes and the way that they're working to incorporate that. And I feel that there can really be a symbiosis, so working together with that. And I want to be part of that dialogue. So I feel like we definitely need to work together and come up with that vision in a collaborative sense. Does that make sense?
If I could make a suggestion to address this concern, because I think this is the second time Lisa's brought this up at a meeting. We're using some dollars specifically for the downtown area, would be that we can add to the agenda to begin discussion of kind of a mission and strategy plan for the Arts Commission, a larger mission and strategy development, so that as you're looking at future art projects, that you can be looking to see how that's assisting with the strategy, and talk about the collaboration point, what you want to do with regards to community engagement, and kind of, I guess, create a guiding light for the direction that you're going with regards to overall art and art incorporation. So they don't have to be separate. They certainly can be items that we can talk about together on the agenda and help the Arts Commission kind of create that strategy plan. Is that something that would help, Lisa, do you think, with a conversation about assisting the Arts Commission about who you are, what you want to do, what your strategy is, and think about it, what that work program might look like?
I agree. I think that's really good, because it gives us a fabric, a matrix, if you will, to decide how we're going to just, we had talked about this before, how we're going to decide, what entries are valid or what aren't, or what are the criteria for how we're going to flesh all of this out. And I feel like we're just a little guideless right now. And I understand that because we're in a brand new situation, not only with the city and the county and how we're all collaborating together, that we're going to go through some growing pains. And I really appreciate that. But I definitely feel that we have to have a direction to go to, or else everything we do is just going to be kind of spinning our wheels, if you will. If we don't really have a vision and a mission of what this looks like, because this is Airway Heights in a way that we've never seen it before. I've lived in Spokane since 1984. I don't know if all of you have. I've lived in this area since 1984, and I think I'm a newcomer, quite frankly. But this area is so dynamically changing that, and Airway Heights itself is redefining itself, not only as a city, but as integral to the whole county, what that looks like. I really feel strongly that we have to have a really strong vision of what that looks like as an artistic perspective that is not readily available from a civil or administrative perspective. We're bringing this to the table, that we have a perspective that nobody else can share. And we need to have a common vision. We need to have what this looks like. I don't know what Airway Heights looks like in 1990. I don't know what Airway Heights looks in 2030. What does that mean? So it's changed so much even in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, the growth out here is just phenomenal. And I really want to be a part of that, but in a positive way that invites people to stay here and invest in the community and be part of it. And, if they're going to create artworks, what makes them feel like they're connected to this place?
That's why I feel the map that's outlined right now, I think that it's a good representation of the area, and those that are residing in within those boundaries are invested and will be invested and will be able to contribute, I believe, beautifully. So
What can we as a council do to facilitate that?
I'm not sure what your question is, Lisa.
yeah,
So
I'm not sure what your question is.
Yeah.
either.
So if we put a wrap on a box on Sprague or on Highway 2, how are we integrating the community into our of what this should look like? What do you, okay, so here, let me just put it more simply. What do you guys see Airway Heights being in the future, other than, driving through a couple roundabouts, some trees along the sideway, is yokes? I mean, how are we drawing together as a community and as an art community? What does that look like? Because we can put art up everywhere and nobody's going to appreciate it if they're driving on by and they're not invested in the community. I guess that's what I'm saying. How do we as a council get people involved in, for instance, Tina, I was so impressed with the way that the tribes have integrated the topography, the geography, the geology, the history of, and then the native aspects all into your facilities and into your development of the future. I was very inspired by that. So that's the kind of inspiration that I would like to bring into this council situation, so that as we move forward, we're doing it collaboratively. We're feeling the same drive, if you will.
Well, I think this is a good stepping stone towards that. I believe this project will be one of many, I'm hoping, that, you know, we do this and be able to, you know, highlight it through, you know, I guess, educating the area of what this project is about and why we're doing this. I think this would be this is a very good starting point.
And just to clarify, I'm not sure if you're asking for like a physical vision of what this is going to be in the future, and then we work towards that as a committee. Is that kind of what you're asking for?
So one of the things, I was a chairman of a credit union for many years. One of the things that was really important is figuring out what our mission is and what our vision is. What are we here for? That's, I mean, I guess that's what all I'm asking, because I'm still at this point very confused as to why we're here. Are we here to make, are we here to put installations in the city of Airway Heights? Are we here to beautify the city? Are we here to integrate the community into getting more connected to the artistic side and the history of the area? I feel like we are really a bit directionless right now. And it's great to say we have $15,000 in funds and do a wrap, but we do not have a vision of what we're supposed to do. Why are we here? Define areas and people that we can draw into it, but what are we drawing them into?
I think I can answer that question, Lisa. I mean, there's an entire plan, which is the art plan. And that document, we've just put that up onto our new website. If you look under Airway Heights sub-area plan, or
No, it's not there.
it's not there.
Not the art plan, no. The downtown plan.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we've sent that out to you, but we'll make sure it gets posted as well. So that art plan that was adopted does many of the things that you had questions about, Lisa, which is, what is the purpose of the Arts Commission? What is the purpose of arts in Airway Heights? What are the targets of and the role of the Arts Commission as part of that? And simply put, it is the commission's role is to help identify opportunities to include public art in its many different forms into the public spaces of the city, and specifically to act as a professional advisory body with regards to the solicitation and the selection of art projects that are identified as opportunities. And so, Lisa, you identified a couple of those upcoming examples of opportunity for art. So you mentioned roundabouts, for example. There are opportunities moving forward as there are roundabout installations within the city to be engaged with and talk about art. Now, there are some areas that the commission has already begun the conversation about, centralized on one of the areas of the city, which is the downtown, and the solicitation for this particular funding project, which there is a narrative that's the next part of this presentation, which is opening up that conversation to artists to interpret what those art submissions could be. So are they along the lines of Native history? Are they along the lines of the natural history, the geoformation? Are they potentially historical? Because we showed some photos of, when this was the Galena Art Depot. So I would say that one of the things we could certainly do is go back and revisit the art plan and go through it for kind of a bit more guidance. But I think that Lisa's suggestion outside of today's conversation about the wrap could certainly be something we could add to the agenda and talk about some more specific strategies that the Arts Commission would like to discuss, which includes specifically Lisa's question about what is and how should community engagement occur around public art. The second is, does the Arts Commission want to in the future kind of zero in on some of these themes for public art, which could include both the appearance of the art and the form of the art. And when I mean appearance, kind of guidelines of what you're looking for with regards to themes, and then the form could be things like, visual arts, performing arts, etc. So those are all areas, absolutely, that I think the commission in future work can have discussions and zero in to create a roadmap around community engagement, the themes of art and the form of art moving forward. So I hope that helps maybe with Lisa's questions and also with the commission of where we are today. It's not a necessarily exclusive conversation. I would just indicate that at this point, with the funds that were available, that the commission's been really kind of focusing on the downtown plan that was adopted in 2021, and the theme of these dollars, which was revitalization of the downtown, to help scope this very simple first project. But there are other options that are on the plate that the commission's talked about it moving forward with, such as potentially an art festival in the downtown area as being another expression of art, and talking more about what form and how that could appear. Does that help, Lisa and Chris?
Yes. And I did want to say thank you very much for all of your hard work, both you and Zach and the staff in terms of getting us information, in terms of making sure that we're up to date as far as how we're supposed to operate and conduct our meetings and moving forward. So you guys are just a wonderful resource for that. So I don't in any way want to say that we're falling short or there's anything that I'm finding fault with. In this regard, all I'm saying is that I just feel like it's really imperative that we have some kind of a solid idea of why we're here and what we're supposed to do while we're here, because all of us are volunteers, all of us are giving our time and our resources, which these days seem to be more limited than ever. And I really appreciate your guys' help in this. So I don't want to waste your time either, and make sure that we're getting the most mileage out of the effort and the work that we're putting into this. And, I'm not speed on everything going on citywide and countywide in terms of development and how things, and it's going at an exponential rate. I can't believe how things are growing out here. So I want to do everything to facilitate that. I just want to make sure that we are all, we're all on the same page. We all have the same vision and dynamic that says, this is what we're moving forward to. This is what we're trying to accomplish. This is, as an arts commission, which is a very small part of the whole picture, this is how we can help and integrate into this whole wonderful process that's happening out here, and to do that as effectively as possible. And I felt like we've been flying blind a little bit up until this point, which isn't a problem, because everybody's, we've all got to get it out of this. We've got to figure out what that looks like. It hasn't upset me at all, but I really am insistent that we have to have an idea of what we're here for, or else I'm spinning my wheels. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Zach, can you switch over to the scoping document? Are there other comments or questions from the commission?
Well,
Um,
right now, I was under the impression we were going forward with the wrap project, and so I honestly haven't visioned anything beyond that. I was just focusing on this project at the moment. So I guess I was under the impression we were trying to identify the area we were going to request submissions from, and then move forward from that.
I don't have any additions to this overview that we have here and the scope for this at all. I think we should, if nobody has any questions, we should probably just vote on this, huh?
Yeah, I did hear, did somebody want to include the area that had Turnbull on the map as well? Did somebody want to make a motion to add that into the proposed area?
I'll make that motion because it was my idea.
Okay. And do we have a second for that? The addition for that?
I'll
block?
second that, because in that way it does truly identify and appear to be West Plains, so
Yeah,
completely makes sense.
yeah, and it does include a big chunk of Spokane County down there, so. All right, and all in favor of adding that block to the proposed area for the current project for
Aye.
unanimous?
Okay. Well, I think that's a great map. It's a really good identifier for eligibility. It really focuses on having stakeholder group of artists within the area. So the last piece would be taking a look at the edits for the scope. So what's been added since the last meeting, of course, is up to 4 designs per artist. We'll update the map to go with this. And then we've got a definition of what is the downtown. We probably need to identify a timeline and a date by which submissions should be made, because that will need to
Yeah.
be in. And to include that we'll give out the wrap template that I shared with Chris a couple of months ago for the box. So they have a piece that so they know how, the dimensions of what they can fill in. I think Chris was going to convert that file. Are there other changes or edits besides a date or a timeline for issuance of this that the commission wants to consider?
Adding the date and timeline is definitely important, but other than that, it looks good to me. So.
So what are you thinking for a timeline? And there'll be more experience on the commission certainly about this. How much time does an artist typically need once there's a issuance of a notice of a nominations or concepts?
I mean, I'm generally given anywhere between 2 weeks and 3 months, generally, when I get calls. Some of them are pretty, like, oh, here's the call and it's due in 14 days, which I don't think is realistic for what we're doing here. 30 days, I feel like, would give the artist enough, but not drag it out too much, because that would be my.
So if we, after this meeting, we got this announcement out with maps and everything, we would not have all the submissions by your next meeting, but it would mean a July consideration likelihood of the concepts that were submitted. Essentially, once we get everything published, 30 days, and then back to your next regular meeting. Does that sound about right?
Yeah,
Doesn't it
Okay.
have to go through city council?
We still have to go through city council to approve the funding for this. But this is kind of the last piece we were looking for to give that to council. It only takes a couple of weeks to brief it and for them to review the expenditure. So now we have the map, we have a description of what you're looking for. And we can go forward and do that in the interim.
So we still haven't taken into account the time and the process that it may take to choose those submissions.
The process for selecting concepts would occur at your July meeting, and if you wanted to carry it over to August, you could. One factor we discussed meeting before last was that WSDOT's going to be replacing the cabinet this summer. They did not give us an estimated date, so they recommended waiting until the end of summer before doing the wrap. So essentially, if we waited till September, I think we would certainly be in line, because after the commission selects, gives the award, notifies, then there's getting the design, getting it over to the manufacturer, and then having it wrapped. That would probably be about right for timeline. I'm estimating, of course, this is our first time through this, but I shared, I think last time, or time before last with the commission, kind of the information we got from Spokane Arts about their process, which we're mimicking.
But I guess what I was saying, we didn't actually decide how we're gonna decide or choose what the solutions are.
The commission did not finalize criteria. I think the meeting before last, the commission began to discuss how you might review a submission so that could help inform the scope that you are putting together. So I think that's where the language about reflecting a cultural, environmental, or historic identity came from, the number of submissions, including the background in the scope document. But absolutely, if you wanted to talk about that today before you finalize the scope, absolutely.
I'm good with what we have in there as far as reflecting the cultural, environmental, and or historical identity of Airway Heights.
I thought there was some language, and I don't see it in here, that Zach had drafted. That was a little bit of it'll be reviewed by ages, all ages, appropriate material. I'm pretty sure there was something you drafted. I think it was stemmed out of that conversation from a couple of months ago about your decision criteria, that there was some language I thought that the commission wanted in here about offending normal sensibilities or something like that. Does that trigger anybody's memory?
Yeah.
No.
For that. I knew we had addressed that.
No, I think that's why we
There it
included,
is.
yeah.
I'm sorry, there it is. It's under eligibility.
Yeah.
Because of public nature, artwork may not contain advertising, religious art, sexual, violent, or other content unsuitable for all ages. Okay, yeah, we got that there.
Can you scroll back up for a second? So this part in red where it starts with downtown Airway Heights is defined as, is there language somewhere that I'm not seeing that I mean, the point of this piece of art is to help identify the downtown? Airway Heights? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure. That just seems out there and
Yes, the downtown area is defined in the downtown plan that was adopted in 2021. So we probably should reference the downtown plan in this reference of the
Why
scope.
don't we just move that downtown Airway Heights paragraph up below the paragraph where it says this is the first project of the newly formed City of Airway Heights Arts Commission?
but I guess what I'm saying is there's nothing in there as far as language saying the whole reason that we're doing this, beautifying the utility box, is because we want to bring attention to the downtown Airway Heights.
Yeah, and I'm looking in your downtown plan. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Well, and you guys got a vision and guiding principles and a vision statement as well. Downtown is unique, recognizable, feels like hometown. And so, and you said that it was from King Street to Lawson, something like that is where the revitalization project is. King Street as Main Street. Housing is a priority. Okay, so you've got light industrial, craft manufacturing, the civic center.
Let me pull up the downtown plan.
Mhm.
Zach's gonna navigate us over to the downtown plan, which we did just get posted last week on.
No, it looks.
Sorry.
Mixed residential. The public space. Makerspace. Yeah. That's, yep, this is the same one I'm looking at. Unless you guys have updated it. Okay.
I'll keep going down to
Vision, I'm trying to navigate
What?
myself.
vision statements, page 16.
Sorry, I'm limited on what I can see here, so I guess.
Okay.
That's two problem.
What's
Tell me.
10?
So yeah, this plan really speaks to more of the, infrastructure, streetscape, housing, multimodal options, et cetera. So again, I guess I'm trying to, streetscape design efforts and corridor beautification comes under that action policy matrix, which is develop streetscape designs along US 2. And that's kind of what we were talking about. Use green space, landscaping, street furniture, and pedestrian lighting to establish a multi-purpose, attractive, safe public space. So this gives me a little bit better idea of what you establish a public art program with a downtown focus area, engage the community and local artists, partner with local nonprofits, and investigate the feasibility of a public art on loan program. So those are actually pretty good talking points as far as what our vision and mission may be. And I guess I hadn't seen that before just today.
Can we just vote on this and stay on topic for the meeting? Because, time is moving and I think we can put this in the parking lot and then maybe talk about this at the next meeting when everybody has a chance to review this document.
I think to answer your question, Chris, this plan does have a map of the downtown. And as Lisa's indicating, there are specific strategies within this plan, as Lisa's reading out about including art. So coming back to the scope description, as Linda indicated, this description, which says it's along to north and the south of Highway 2 from Lundstrom to Lawson, is in fact the downtown area. It includes a little bit of a smidge of area along King Street, which you can see here toward the top of the page. on either side of King, and it goes a little bit south. As well as that, but if you would like to, it's very easy if you want to vote on this or not today, but we could simply expand on the downtown area description based on the map that you see on the screen and move it a little further up in the narrative as Lynn recommended.
Well, and this is just my proposal, like, after, so in the first paragraph, the end of the first paragraph, last sentence, the intent of this project is to beautify this utility box, bring art to an otherwise utilitarian surface, and giving artists an opportunity to develop a public art experience to enhance the downtown Airway Heights. It's not, all I'm saying is it's just kind of out there, and there's a disconnect with that red paragraph of why
Yeah.
we are defining downtown. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that little half a sentence you mentioned would make it a lot more specific, I think, definitely.
Like, there's a reason that we are wanting this in downtown, and then we define what downtown is. That's all I'm saying, you know?
Well, we can make those changes if you want to make a decision to add Chris's narrative, because that's the beauty of recorded document is we can actually replay exactly what Chris said and add the 30-day timeline if that's what you would like to do.
I motion to include the language that was just mentioned in the first paragraph of the overview. And then go ahead and approve the document.
So the language we're going to add is,
This is just my proposal, but continuing that last sentence, and it says to enhance the downtown Airway Heights core, or whatever you want to say. And then if we want to move up that paragraph about downtown Airway Heights as well, like Lynn suggested, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I think the way it should read is that it should start with the overview and then go into the Airway Heights, the historical paragraph there, and then go into the City of Airway Heights Arts Commission is seeking original designs. And then after that, do the downtown Airway Heights definition.
Yeah, I love it.
Tina, is that within the motion that you made?
Yes.
I second it.
All in favor of adding that language and restructuring a couple of the paragraphs to make it more specific for the downtown area? Tina?
Oh,
You're- All right, that looks unanimous.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So the next steps for this package is we will put it out to council for briefing, submit a request for approval of the expenditure of the funds. We've already discussed the cost of the project based on estimates from the city of Spokane on a similar project. We will package this up for a dissemination through social media. We'll work to get this distributed. We'll share this back with the Arts Commission. So if there are artists that you're aware of or know of in this area that may be qualified to submit, we'll have the 30-day date on it for submission, and we'll plan on looking at the submissions at the July meeting of the Arts Commission. And so I would recommend at the next meeting of the Arts Commission in June to create your checklist for your criteria that you would like to use jointly as a commission for the review of those submissions. Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna have to go to another meeting. I'll just be a little ways away. But it looks like the next item on your agenda is for the, sorry, I just went past it.
Rotational or.
The
For the
rotational
rotational art.
opportunities at City Hall.
So Matt, this was an item that you had requested to be put on the agenda regarding the art cabinet in the hallway there in City Hall.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of open commission to the possibility of those little cabinets. I don't know how often they're used or how often the art is rotated in and out, or what the opportunity would be for us to put announcements out, gather public interest, and maybe getting stuff displayed and rotated and such. So this was just kind of a suggestion to have an open discussion and see kind of where we would sit and how we could kind of promote that as an opportunity.
Can I make a suggestion? Can we include the Airway Heights Recreational Center in that discussion as well? Because they don't have any art anywhere, and it would maybe behoove us to, since there's more people that come into the rec center than come into City Hall, probably.
Yeah, it says city property. Does that include the rec center, Zach, or?
I mean, it can. In this case, it was just regarding the art cabinet because we had that prior discussion. But what we can do is, I don't know if there are any dedicated spaces for public art there, but we can begin a conversation and also reach out to Parks and Rec about potentially having spaces for public arts out at the rec
Yeah.
center. That's definitely something we could do.
Yeah, would we be able to maybe get somebody from Parks Department to maybe speak on it and see if what opportunities they would have for us? Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely reach out and see if they're available to come by the Arts Commission meeting next month.
Perfect. Thank you.
So one of the interesting things about the library is they have a rotating display, and then they have some permanent displays with the aerial sculptures. I forget who the artist is. So perhaps we could look into that as well. And again, I'm wondering how we would actually solicit and commission artworks for a rotational display, whether it was City Hall or elsewhere. So those are some of the things I'm thinking about logistically, is how we make that happen. Gotta make connections with the artists, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We got to connect with the artists, and as of right now, all of our funding is for the downtown projects and stuff. So we'd have to figure all that out. That's why I just introduced it as kind of an open discussion as a starting point for a bigger picture. So
Great idea.
And are there any other ideas or anything about like properties? I've heard the library, the
Rec center.
yeah, the rec center. Sorry. The rec center, City Hall, which Lynn, I definitely agree. More people will see stuff at the rec center than City Hall, so it would be more beneficial to have something there. But I think it's definitely a step in the right direction to have somebody from Parks and Rec come and speak with us, and we can just chat it out with them and see what ideas we can come up with and opportunities can be put on the table. Any other questions or anything? I know like the city cabinet, Zach, who would we speak with in regards to that? I know there's some art in there currently. I don't want to just go in and say, let's change it out without consulting anybody. Or, I mean, I'd like to know the history of the cabinet, kind of how it works and stuff like that.
We did have a conversation with our clerks who work the front desk there and have for a number of years regarding, kind of what's the deal essentially with the art cabinet. And the art that's featured in there is from a local artist, and there's no formal agreement or anything like that. Apparently she swaps it out, but it's been several years since the art has changed at all. So my suggestion would be to consider maybe developing a policy regarding the cabinet that identifies, a period in which you have, 6 months, right, for one artist, and then you swap it out with another artist kind of thing. But just establishing a set of rules through a policy regarding the display within the cabinet would probably be your best bet. So that way you could start with the existing art and then give it, whatever timetable you'd like, and then it's time for someone else to do that, and we can advertise for the ability to display art within that area. So that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, that sounds perfectly sensible to me. And in that case, would that be something anybody would be interested in kind of discussing over the next meeting, is kind of just getting a base establishment for those rules and stuff? And on top of the continued conversation, we can kind of initiate that one as well and develop a little strategy for that.
And we can draft some language to get the ball rolling on that and take a look. And I think we may want to hold off to wait to see what Parks and Rec has to say, because if they're interested in having public art displays, we may want to expand the scope of that policy to include all public spaces. Instead of writing 2 different documents, we can have one all-inclusive document.
Right, yeah. Sounds good. And does anybody have anybody else they'd like to say, or any questions about that, or just we'll kind of play with that idea as it comes along? We'll meet with Parks and Rec and kind of build off of that. And next, item 12, commissioner reports, which I also wanted to thank Tina for the tour over there at Northern Quest with all the art. That was fantastic. It's so educational and just, it awe-inspiring. Just the work that goes into it, the restoration of the historic photos and that sort of thing. It was really, really amazing. So thank you so much, Tina.
I could see native arts and fiber arts and other things in the facilities and City Hall and elsewhere too. I think there's just a really good opportunity for collaboration here.
Absolutely. Any other reports from commissioners or anything that anybody have anything interesting they'd like to kind of report on, or no? And staff reports.
Yeah, so really quickly, again, I'd like to thank Tina as well. That was really fun. It was nice to get out of the office for a minute and check out all the new fun projects over at the casino there. So just to recap, we'll try and reach out to Parks and Rec, bring somebody for next meeting. We will bring you some updates on the downtown revitalization. We're going to get that ball rolling over with the city council. And Lisa, I will make sure we include the public arts plan as a discussion topic so we can go through that. As you know, we recently redid the website. It looks like the public arts plan hasn't made it to the new website yet, but that's something I can remedy within the next week or so. So I'll make sure that gets posted up there. It'll be in your packet and we can have a bigger discussion with that. But other than that,
great job. You've been doing a good job, Zach. Really, you've been awesome.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. What was I just going to say there? Other than that, I wanted to get a sense of everyone's feelings on the next regularly scheduled Arts Commission meeting, since we are not on a consistent schedule right now. I wanted to see where everyone was at on that so we can make sure we get the room reserved and our Zoom meeting set up correctly.
I'm good on the Mondays or Tuesdays either way. I know because that was having some issues with Tuesdays, and that's why we bumped it to Mondays. I'm open to either day. Probably the same time of day if at all possible though, because now that I've switched to newspaper, I have a ton of city council stuff going on in the evenings and stuff. So midday is definitely my best availability. What's everybody else thinking?
Mondays have been actually working best for me. This time has actually worked out better. So.
Cool.
Is the first Monday of every month, does that work for everybody? Or would you like to go the second or third? And it's up to you.
That works for me.
So if we follow that, then the next regularly scheduled meeting will be June 5th at 2 o'clock.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. And it looks like this meeting can be adjourned at 3:10 p.m.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks so much,
everybody.
everybody. Have a great
Have a good
day
couple-
and enjoy some of that sunshine.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your tour. That was awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.